Dr. Amar Patnaik ji. Dr. Amar Patnaik.
Thank you, sir. So I am not. Thank you, sir. So I'm not used to the thunder and lightning and whatever on both sides that we witnessed just now. I'll make two very brief points. I start with one of the greatest judges of all time, Oliver Wendell Holmes. He said, the life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. The law embodies the story of a nation's development through many centuries, and it cannot be dealt with as if it is contained only the axioms and corollaries of a book of mathematics. What I want to thrust here, put my thrust on, is the word experience. So against this background, I would just like to express my anguish and consternation on a few points, some of which has already been aired, which I will not repeat. But the most important thing is we have not learned from the experience. And if we are learning from the experience so far, we are not learning it very fast enough to give benefit to millions of Indians that look for justice. The three most important things of an efficient justice system, as we all know, would be access, would be quality, would be timeliness. Now, if you look at we have discussed this, if we look at the number of judges, I think that's the basic thing. We know that there are pendency in the courts. We know there are 40% of vacancies in the high courts. There are about 20 to 30% vacancies in the subordinate courts. But what is more alarming is the judge to population ratio, which has been alluded to. Now, if you look at it, the judge population ratio that we have compared to some of the developed countries, it is amongst the lowest in the world. And this is taking 2011 population figure. Now, if you consider the total population as on today, you have a very, very pathetic figure of judge to population ratio. And therefore, the most important administrative action that the government must do now is to look at the sanction strength itself. We are now calculating vacancies against the sanction strength, but the sanction strength itself is deficient. And therefore, the calculation, what we call in bureaucracy as a kind of staff statistics or a review exercise, I think that should be carried out and increase the number of judges in the High Court and the Supreme Court and the subordinate courts accordingly as per the sanction strength, and then have a plan and a strategy to fill it up as they must be having now. The second point which I wanted to make, sir, we all talked about the fact that the ends of justice is destined for the poor, for the marginalized. People are not getting justice. Even as far as under trials are concerned, there are about 85% of under trials who belong to marginalized communities. That is what the statistics. So we have the Legal Service Authority. How does it function? Now, I have very interesting statistics and very, very, unfortunate, I must say, and very damning statistics. It has come from a study which was conducted by the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative in 2018. It found that there are 70,000 legal aid lawyers in India, but this is the most interesting part, but the per capita spending on legal aid was just rupees 0.75, 75 paisa per case. This is the kind of justice that we are giving to people who can't afford justice. Whereas, the per capita spending in Australia in similar situation is $23, and in a country like Argentina, $17. It is one of the lowest. So instead of paying lip service to the Legal Service Authority, we have to do something about it. And mind you, the Legal Service Authority is more under the direct control of the judiciary. And that is where I think the intervention is required from the judiciary. The third point, sir, to address the issue of resources, because if you're talking about quality, timeliness, to finish things in time, we need resources. And these resources are two types, the hard and the soft. We have talked about the hard resources. We need to have digitalization of the judiciary as much as possible. There are cases there was a case in Orissa in Fulbani district where the judgment of the High Court did not reach for a bail in, I think, 2-3 months. So he was interned for 2-3 months, even though he had a bail order passed by the judiciary. And 3 months. Whereas it could easily have been communicated through a digital method. I think this is where hard infrastructures have to be built. To a written question, to an unstarred question, a written answer was given to me that 26% of the court complexes in India do not have a separate toilet for women. After 75 years, what more pathetic situation can there be, sir? Therefore, the need for hard infrastructure, which is definitely in the domain of the government, and therefore the consideration for Chief Justice of India's suggestion of having the National Judicial Infrastructure Agency, I think is very, very important. But for about the soft resources, which is the judges, we talked about the senior advocates charging fees and all things. But I think the most important intervention which has been made in our judicial system by setting up the national law universities. These national law universities need to be augmented. I find that in our state, for example, the national law universities have been set up, but the infrastructural support for it has to come entirely from the state budget. This is not workable.
Please conclude now.
So I'll take half a minute. We have to include not only increase the number of seats in these national law universities, because very bright students are joining them and they will eventually change the ecosystem, maybe the idealism in the judicial system as well. And secondly, for infrastructure support, I think there should be sharing by the central government and the state government. These are my 2 points, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.